Hello. I would usually say good morning or good day, but what if it's not a good morning? Maybe it's a okay morning or a low morning. But in any way, whatever morning you have this morning, and welcome to Coffee Weekly Podcast, yet another episode. My name is Otto. I'm one of our three hosts. Who are the other ones? Who are you?
Hello, whatever morning for you as well. And you're listening to Sheldon's voice right now, or watching if you're on YouTube. And yeah, let's talk about when we are not feeling so good. And yeah, let's talk about it and see what we have to share today. And we are also here with
Hendrik, it's a pleasure, guys. I hope everyone is doing fine, anyways. And I'm pretty excited what's coming up today. So, Otto,
Are
how do
you?
you?
That's interesting. You're very excited about our topic of today, which is feeling low. I find interesting that you're very excited about it. I mean, I can understand, of course, that there's many things you want to share, or maybe things you thought about, or things that I don't know how to deal with it. But yeah, I was thinking about this topic because usually, I mean, every time we think about a topic, we're like, what is like something that concerns us, something that we, I don't know, went through, or something that we thought about recently. And I remember the last weeks, it was like, oh yeah, we should talk about good habits. We should talk about, uh, I don't know, positive things. And every time I was like, I don't know, I, I don't really feel it. So I thought, okay, what about we do an episode on the opposite? What about feeling low? Because yeah, I've been feeling pretty low the last weeks. Maybe that is also because the winter has slowly started here in Sweden. And I was just traveling before with Sheldon. There was one episode where we were both in New York, and it was super warm there. It was literally summer. It was like 25 degrees, running around in the t-shirt, getting lots of sun, doing lots of things. And when I came back, it was like, I don't know, 10, 12 degrees, rain, gray clouds. I mean, and sometimes a bit of sun, but it was just like already okay, it's over. And that, along with this, a lot of things to do personally, just I mean, I'm already out of energy. Usually I have the energy to like beginning of next year, like January, February, and then I'm like super low. But here I am. It's October, and I'm out of energy. Isn't that great? What do you think, Sheldon?
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to find some patterns as well, because throughout most of my life I lived in Brazil, where there's not a lot of differences between the seasons. Mostly we have some like differences in sometimes it rains, sometimes it doesn't, but in terms of temperature and sunlight, it's very standard. So I couldn't feel like the difference of like getting a very big day like now in Ireland, where in the summer I think we have like 20 or 19 18 to 20 hours of day of sunlight, and then in the winter it's like 4 or 5 hours, something like this. So this thing, like this, the changing of seasons make me feel low. But it's funny because like it make me feel like low, a little bit like tired with no reason, and a bit sad as well. But then when when it's already in like November, mid-November, and beginning of December, I feel a little bit productive as well, because like I think the reason is it's winter. We're gonna spend a lot of time inside. Might as well do something. So let's do something productive, and then like it's kind of starts organic, and then I'm doing something on December, and then like the Christmas and New Year's arrive, and then we relax a little bit and don't want to do anything anymore. So it's kind of like a roller coaster and of ups and downs. How about you, Hendrik?
So yeah, right now I'm actually doing fine, but of course there were other times in my life where I had longer times where I felt low, where I didn't feel so good because of different circumstances. The reason why I'm excited for the topic today is because I think it's a topic people should talk about more. It's something that society doesn't like to talk about. society, we always just want to see successful people, people rocking it, just people pulling us up. Because I think that's what a lot of people want. Like they want the help of others, they want to be enabled. And yeah, sometimes helping others comes a little short when they need help. And there is not just like that much space for that in everyday's life to really go into the details of why is someone emotionally feeling bad. And it has such a big impact on our life. And especially for men, I think a lot of men have struggles to be open with their emotions, especially publicly. And I think that's something we have to work on as a society, but because that's totally fine. I'm a big friend of being honest and not playing some theater for others, but just being your empathic self. Yeah, so before I pass on the mic, like I think I'm gonna put a different light on the topic today, because like the times where I felt the worst, it was honestly mostly related to like existential crises, so especially economic wise. So like I know the biggest stress in my life was basically coming from, all right, do I have enough money for food? Can I pay the rent? So basically this was my biggest stress factors in life, and I will talk later about how that affected me and my emotional well-being. And yeah, maybe also you can pick up like how it's going for you right now, like what's your struggles. And
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you were saying that almost all of the times you felt bad was of like a lack of something. You did not have something, or things were missing and you really felt them. I remember, I mean, yeah, Sweden is, or like the Scandinavian countries are maybe probably most well known for their shitty winters, darkness and suffering, and pretty much the Swedish melancholy. And you were saying that, oh yeah, we as a society have to work on this. I mean, I fully agree, but this is in the context of being in Germany. I'm in the context of being in Sweden, and I have to say, in this society here, it's pretty much talked about quite a lot. That, oh yeah, oh, are you having a depression? Or, yeah, I'm going to therapy. Oh cool, like how's it going for you? Ah, it sucks, but I'm fine. And of course, like I fully agree that still there could be more work done, and it's I mean, always healthy to share that. Yes, sometimes it's not, hello, how are you? Good. Or sometimes it's just like, yeah, I'm having a really bad day. Actually, I'm having a really tough time right now. But on the topic of existential crisis, like missing something, I remember one time there was, I think exactly I came to Sweden. I just finished my work in Ireland. I was like a bit burnt out. I just needed some break. And it was November, and I think then I moved to Sweden, which is like right in the juicy part of the winter. And I was like, oh, people say it's a bad winter. How bad can it be? I was like, if it's really cold, we have cold in Germany as well. I'm just gonna put on a jacket. What really fucked me up was the darkness, because as Sheldon says, like if there's no sun, yeah, you just have less energy. It's very simple. I mean, if you just go on a place where there's more sun, you will just, I mean, not really sleep less, but you will have more physical energy, endorphins. You will just have more motivation. You will just do more things, and you will be up for more things. In this case, it was, I mean, I was very happy. I'm like off work. I'm like, oh, finally I can relax. And I had some money to just like survive the next month, and I was like, all good. But then I came to Sweden. It was like dark as fuck. And I was like spending the first months discovering this country and the city and everything. But then, I had nothing to do because I didn't want to find a job. And I got depressed like so big time. It took me a while to realize, but not because I had a crisis of existentialism, there was nothing I had to eat, but because there was nothing I had to do. I was not forced to do something. And I mean, I remember just like staying up late and I don't know, programming some random fun I want to do and some music. And then I went to bed at 1 a.m. every morning. And at some point, my sleep rhythm really fucked up because I was wake up late. I slept until 1 p.m. and the sun goes down at 3 p.m. And my brain is like, something is wrong here. Hello, where's the sun? And then every time I woke up at 1 a.m., every morning at 1 a.m., I was like, good morning. And I couldn't fall asleep because my brain was, so because I didn't have a routine. So funnily enough, me getting out of this 3-month hell of a ride that I was there, was finding a job that was almost 2 hours commute one way. I mean, it was 1 hour 45. And I was forced to wake up at 6 fucking a.m. and I came home at 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. And it was the best ever. It was really good. So it's very like interesting that there's like a range of I cannot eat and I don't have to work, and both ends can lead in some circumstances to feeling very, very low. So maybe it's again all about the balance, being somewhere in the middle, and just sharing. That's this is one way to feel better.
No, the things you mentioned made me think about a lot of things, and a couple of them. So I'm gonna start with some basics, and the things that I'm gonna say are stuff that I listened on podcasts or watched YouTube videos about it, or maybe in some books that I've read. I like the topic of psychology. For me, psychology, philosophy, and self-improvement, they're kind of in a way connected. But so a lot of when we are feeling low, there is a lot of physiological things that could be happening. So for example, the lack of sun, we have less vitamin D, which is one of the vitamins that help with this sentiment of feeling better. So if you live in a country that has less daylight on the winter, then you should take some vitamin D like as a pill. Then this could help with you feeling low. And then there are other things as well, like for example, have you ate, have you showered, have you have you been out a little bit, going outside, going for a walk, breathing fresh air. Those things help, and some of them are actually like scientifically proved that they help. And one that is scientifically proved that helped as well is as exercising. There's actually one episode that I watched about an interview with a psychologist, and she said that ideally every person that goes to therapy, the first recommendation would be to go do some exercise, and after you've been exercising for a few months, then you come back to therapy and see what is left of your problems. She was joking. Yeah, she was joking, but it was a joke to demonstrate how important exercising is for your mental health. But another thing that is interesting that she said is those bad feelings, anxiety, depression, or sadness, or any bad feeling, they're actually a good feeling in a way that they have a purpose. So for anxiety, for example, is a fight or flight mechanism that we inherited from when we were like cavemen, and a danger approaches us like a lion. You see a lion in the forest and you're like, let's talk with this lion, see if I can put some reason on his head. No, you're gonna run. So anxiety has a purpose. Sometimes it goes unregulated, and then you have to go do some exercise or take some medicine to regulate your anxiety. But usually what therapy, like in a general way, what therapy is doing is providing you tools that you can mitigate your feeling of anxiety, either by doing an activity that relaxes you, or doing meditation, or talking to someone. I think that's the most common one, because then you can talk with a friend, or if you want, or if you need, talk to a professional. That's why people have like recurrent therapy sessions, because they already have the vocabulary, and they already know how to mitigate most of their problems. But there are some problems that they need to be talking to a professional that will give them like professional advice. So yeah, I pinched in a lot of subjects here, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of doing some checks on yourself and understand patterns, doing introspection, because this way you would understand how you work a little bit better, and could work on your problems with tools, with stuff that is actually going to help you. Yeah, so that's what I had to say about this.
Okay, thanks, man. I agree with so much what Sheldon said. Like there's good measures against getting out, or good measures for getting out of a depression, or at least to help it, to make it a little bit better. But I also totally understand, like if you're depressed, so we're going like actually from feeling low to being depressed now. So let's not like I'm mixing up two different things now. So depression, that's a serious illness, and feeling low, that's just something that could happen like just for a limited amount of time. But anyways, like I think the same measures are working whether you're just feeling low or you're having a bad depression. I think the thing to keep in mind, like for this state of mind that you are in, you should not forget how hard it is to get out of there. Like everything seems so gray, everything seems like so unmotivating, and you don't see a reason why you should get out of the bed or something like that. I also see it a lot, like sleeping too much is like a bad sign already. So at some point of time, you just have to force yourself out of that state. Just like if you're taking a hammer and taking down the wall, like with that force, you have to get yourself out of that loop and do some of the things that Sheldon mentioned. So whatever is good for you, movement, forcing yourself out at 12 in the day, like to go in the maximum sun that your country still provides. Like most of the time there will be some sun, maybe not all of the time, but you should try to get as much of it as possible. Like I think it's possible for everyone to go like on a lunch break for 20-30 minutes walk in the sun. You have some movement, you have a little bit of sunlight, you're keeping your biological rhythm intact. So really force yourself to do good for you. I know it's hard, but what's the alternative? So yeah, like it's on your choice. Um, yeah, because and in the end you're responsible for helping yourself.
I think
Yeah,
you,
like I wanted to talk a little bit about like other sources of stress. I think like this, please, Otto.
oh, I think we have a bit of a delay. I mean, you were asking a very interesting question. What are the alternatives? If I may, I mean, I can
Okay.
give a little
Yes.
intro to that, but of course, the baseline is, I mean, you have probably some physical reasons, lack of something, food, sleep, exercise, social activities that leads to a social, like a physical state. And the baseline is yes, just make sure you eat enough, sleep enough, have a rhythm, have something to do, some kind of work or creative stuff, and yeah, exercise, iterate on that. But then the other side is, okay, let's say you do that and you still feel like still low. You're like, I don't really want to do anything. The other thing is that is, I mean, complementing it is accepting it, embracing it. This is like one way that, you know, it's not a bad thing to just feel low. I mean, if you, let's say it's summer and you're just like, man, I don't want to like do things. I just want to chill. Then do it. Sometimes it's not like you shouldn't be giving in to the depression in the side of like, oh, I want to do nothing anymore. I want to sleep 20 hours a day. This is not the right thing. But make sure you have the baseline, and then just feel to your body and feel to your mind, feel to your soul, and be like, oh, I just want to be a little, I want to be a little introvert, and want to read some books and listen to some music, and that's fine. But sorry, that was just the alternative. Yeah. Most thing you want to say about stress?
Yeah, so there's different sources that can get you into that situation. So for example, we talked about a lack of sunlight, winter depression, which is very common, I think, at least in the Western world. But as I mentioned before, like a lack of resources can also be a big problem if it happens for a long time. So I remember when I was back in university and I had so little money, and like I was thinking every month, like, okay, can I pay my rent? Can I pay my food? So this is basically dealing with a permanent existential crisis. So this also has a big change. And I noticed like when I started working and I know, okay, I have a few $1,000 on my bank account, like how my mood lifted. And there could be other reasons also. So for example, if you lose someone in your life, like there is no easy solution to a loss of a person. This can be like death, or maybe also like if a relationship isn't going well and you're at a dead end and you don't know how to go anymore. there is multiple reasons, and there is not always an easy fix to any of those. Some people might also come from an area in the world where there is war or political crises. Yeah, like I don't say like doing exercise is a solution to everything, but what we're saying is like, okay, let's try to anyways do our best, because keep in mind, like most of us, we have like 80, maybe 85 years of life. And I think we should just enjoy as much as possible of it, because we don't get another chance. So I think like, even if it is hard, and sometimes it is just fucking hard, let's just embrace life as it is and try to enjoy it anyways as much as we can. And I think, yeah, that's already my starting my closing thoughts for today.
Nice. Yeah, I fully agree on that. I mean, maybe if I can add a little bit on that, my closing thoughts. So I say, I mean, what are the things you can do if you feel low? What are the things you should be doing if you feel low? I mean, I can just share my point of view. But for me, the way I deal and realize and cope with it has changed quite a lot since I moved here. Mainly on the fact that, well, I'm just being confronted with feeling bad quite much more. Because, you know, let's take the winter as a very stupid example, but the weather just has a very, very big influence on you. There's a reason why people talk about the weather so fucking much. It's important. The thing is, like in Germany, you know, there was a winter and it was annoying. We had some snow, but it was just like, it was nothing terribly bad. But here, it just feels like there's no way you will escape feeling low for an extended period of time. It's like just basically half a year you can just calculate with, okay, I will feel low during the time. And so one way that made me deal with things better was just like feeling sad, just like crying, just like making some music, not meeting people for a while. And some days when I feel like I did have a coffee with someone, and that's fine. But just generally, I become an introvert in the winters, and I'm super happy about it. I'm just like, I don't want to fucking deal with people right now, even though I'm the most fucking extrovert person ever. But this is one good way that can really help. Just accepting, embracing, and yeah, just enjoying the good things. I mean, the darkness is actually very beautiful. You go for a walk and you have these little lights. It looks very pretty. And yeah, it's cold, but that's one advice that I could give. It's not necessarily, you don't have to stop a low. What you have to do is make sure you're not falling into a hole where you cannot get out yourself anymore. Like if you get too deep, if you skip important things like sleep and some kind of social things, at some point you will be like, oof, and you will have a hard time getting out. But managing like a certain range between high and low is perfectly fine. Embrace the Swedish melancholy. That's my advice.
Yeah, I think that what you said is an interesting thing to say indeed, because we have, I think the first thing that I would do when I'm feeling low is to understand why. And when you do this root cause journey, let's put it this way, do it without any judgment, without any without being too self-critical. Analyze your life and don't be rude with yourself, but just identify things. Oh, is it something at work? Is it something in my location? Like we talked about the weather. We can talk about things that the location can influence you, like the culture, or it's not secure. Like you don't feel you feel threatened on the place that you're living, or it can be like Hendrik said, a financial situation, like you're not able to provide, then you're feeling low. So there's a lot of things that can happen, and I think the first thing that you should do is to identify what is happening, because then you know which demon you're dealing with. And then one of the things I totally agree with Otto, like embrace and try to feel to like embrace and feel what you need to feel, because for there are some things that it should be like, for example, like if you're feeling low because something at work, then you can right away find ways to mitigate that. talk to your manager or find another job, etc. But if you lose someone and then you're grieving, like there's no run away from that. You're gonna feel sad for a period of time. So embrace that, and like talk to people that also miss this person, share the griefness together, and then yeah, like there are other ways as well. Like I've seen some people advise on getting a project. Like Otto mentioned that he was feeling low, and then when he found a job, he kind of found a purpose. It's not like a purpose on the purpose way, but this idea of purpose, or of having something to do, some guidance, something to direct you on life, is something that is very important. And it's one of the many reasons why people still go to religion to this day. But I don't want to be so going to another direction. But anyway, so like finding a project, something to do, something that occupy your mind for a daily basis. And this can help as well. And some other people, they don't work this way, like having a project that won't help. What would help is to surround yourself with people that care about you. So go talk to if you live by yourself, like call people, do like video calls and video conferences. And if you have the ability, visit the person, talk to them, and understand that you are not alone in this world. Nobody's alone in this world. Like you always have someone that you can rely on. Or if you don't, find someone, go to a bar and start making conversation, and maybe you find a friend there. So those are going to be my advice and my closing thoughts.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's it for today's episode, right, guys?
Yes, we're still feeling low, but we made it through.
Yeah. All right then. See you next week. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you, everyone.
guys.
See you next week. Bye-bye.